You're listening to the Becoming More Me podcast with me, Teresa Lear Levine. You're already enough. But if you're anything like me, you thrive when you're stretching and developing yourself, creating more of the person you feel called to be. This podcast is here to inspire and support you. Let's release the negative, reinforce the positive, and elevate our vibe together as we tap into our limitless potential to transform and grow. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Becoming More Me. I'm your host, Teresa Lear Levine, and today I'm excited because I'm going to be sharing something with you that I've alluded to sharing and mentioned my desire to share for a while now. It is the whole way that I plan my weeks. And with that, you're going to get the template that I use so that you can apply it to your own planning process if it jives with you. Now, the reason why I think this has worked so well for me is because I'm still someone who really understands things much better when I put the pen to paper. I have converted to calendaring mainly online. I do my scheduling through apps. I have multiple calendars that I manage for my 4 children, ones that I share with my husband, multiple business calendars. There's all sorts of calendars that are handled digitally. But when I actually look at my week and want to understand time, which can be really difficult when you have ADHD and time just isn't really tangible. Putting the pen to paper and really looking at what my day looks like makes a huge difference to me. So if you can relate to that, or if sometimes you feel like things slip through the cracks with digital calendaring or with just using a basic planner that doesn't necessarily have room for the complexity of your life and all the moving parts, then I think you might really enjoy this. This process took me some time to develop into something that felt like it worked. So I'm just going to put that out there because the first probably month that I used it, it felt a little clunky. It felt a little tedious. But that's also the beauty of it, is that during that first month or so that I used it, I was able to change the sheets in the planner. I was able to reorganize space so that I had more or less space for something because I could see what I needed at that point. And I was really able to make it functional for me. That's also part of the reason why it took me a little while to figure out how I wanted to share this. Because in order to share it, I pretty much need to share my version. And I know that my version is not going to be what you need exactly. But I do feel like at this point, it's very easy to substitute a few things or rearrange a few things and make this very workable without having to create this from scratch for yourself, which is what I did. I started to realize what I needed, and I created these sheets from scratch back in, I don't remember, late 2020, early 2021. And then I hesitated to use them because I had been so used to writing out my list in a certain way and going about it in a certain way. And habit change is not always the easiest to get motivated to do. And you've heard me say this before, but motivation feels like resistance. So there was resistance there. But the first time that I sat down to do it, it took me over 2 hours. And I printed out the sheets and I organized my week. And I felt really good about it, though. It didn't bother me that it took so long because for the first time in I don't know how long, I actually felt like I understood what was ahead of me in the coming week, and that I also understood what was realistic to expect of myself. I was so used to, for so long, creating these ridiculous, I didn't think so then, but I know so now, ridiculous to-do lists for myself. And the expectations I would put on myself for a day brought about a lot of anxiety. And also on those rare days when I actually did tackle a good bit of it, those endorphins and things were things that I was chasing after every day. But most days I was feeling defeated. My expectations were not realistic. Part of the reason my expectations were not realistic is because I wasn't actually looking at the time that I had. So for me, it's important. Like when I'm thinking about my kids getting up in the morning and such, I know that, and you'll see this on my planner. If I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, in order to do like my morning routine things that get me ready for a workout, I need about a half an hour. That includes, getting my pre-workout ready, emptying the dishwasher, setting some things up for the kids so that when their day starts, I'm not hustling to do those things, filling water bottles for them, taking supplements, doing all sorts of little things. Of course, there's brushing my teeth, getting dressed, putting my contact lenses in, making the bed, taking care of the laundry. All of that fits in to that half an hour. And it's gotten pretty fine-tuned and it's just part of the routine. None of that needs to go on my calendar anymore. But there may be periods of time for you when little itty bitty tasks need to go on your calendar because they otherwise slip through the cracks, or because you're trying to develop a habit and you're not there yet. Once I develop habits and things are routine, I don't worry about putting them on the list anymore. And so in the morning, I know that I have that time. So, I put wake up on my calendar, and then I don't put workout until a half an hour later because now I know the time that takes. And then I know that my workout time can vary. So that's something I like to check. And if I know what workouts I'm doing during the week, because I use video workouts and I can look them up a lot of times in advance and see, it can really make a difference whether a workout is a half an hour or 44 minutes into how I plan my morning. I may need to wake up 15 minutes earlier in order to not feel like I'm behind on my day. So knowing that a day before or a week before is really helpful to me. Now, I also know that once I get my two little ones up, it's just me and them, focus totally on them while they're up and getting ready. And then when they leave, I have about 25 minutes that I could actually get a task or two done. So sometimes I will write in what I'm going to do during that time. And I've learned not to put 30 minutes of task in a time that I have 25 minutes. I've learned to not even put 25 minutes in 25 minutes. I might put 10 to 20 minutes worth of things that I can tackle. And then there's still breathing room for other things that come up and to not feel frantic during the day. So there's these little pockets of time that emerge as you plan your day and you understand things. If you have an appointment that's out of the house, being able to look at the calendar and say, okay, I know it takes me a half an hour to drive there. Normally it takes me about 10 minutes to transition from whatever I'm doing at home to getting in the car and leaving. I need to look at that and realize there's nothing else that's happening during that point of the day other than me getting ready to go and me driving. Now, of course, if you're looking to have a majorly productive day, you could certainly plan to listen to some kind of, education or podcast or, listen to a video or something while you're driving. I do that all the time, and advanced planning allows me to be way more productive about what I listen to instead of just turning on the radio. There are times when just turning on the radio is exactly what's called for too. These are things that only you know about yourself. But my main point in giving these little details right now is that for my ADHD brain and most of the ADHD brains that I coach and talk to and hear from, time can be hard to comprehend. And putting the pen to the paper and looking at what your day entails helps you understand how much of it you actually have to apply to little tasks you want to do, dreams you're working on, things you're manifesting, everything else. Because everything from, getting dressed and brushing your teeth in the morning to preparing and cleaning up meals to driving carpool or commuting, they all take up parts of your day. So you have to figure out what's left and what's reasonable to ask of yourself. And that was key to my anxiety lowering, because you can get really anxious when you look at a list of things that there's absolutely no way you can accomplish in a day. Part of my planner sheets is also having a weekly sheet, because my biggest qualm with planners was that, and with planning software, because I've tried a lot of digital stuff too, is that it really required you to be able to put things in certain places and stick to it. And I totally understand the idea behind that if you don't put something in a certain place and you don't stick to it, you might procrastinate. You might not get it done. You might think, oh, I'll just do this later. But my schedule as a mom of four, running multiple businesses and managing a house and working out of the same house that I manage and having two dogs under my roof and all that other stuff, it provides a lot of uncertainty in scheduling. So I might know without a doubt that I'm going to get a certain task during the day done, but I can't say with certainty that I'm doing it at 9 a.m. So I've gotten to a place where I'm committed enough to follow through on things, but it's easier for me sometimes to put it on my weekly list than it is to put it on my daily list, or to put it on my daily list in one of the side columns versus a spot on my calendar. This will make sense as I show this to you. But I really needed planning that had flexibility, but also allowed me to visually see what I want to do during the week and an idea, at least, of when I'm going to do it, as well as the concrete things on my schedule that don't have the flexibility of change. And as I increased my coaching practice in 2022, this became really important so that I could learn to limit the amounts of certain appointments that I allowed on each day, so that I could begin building in prep time, because I do a lot of work between my client sessions to really prepare and bring amazing content to their next session. And that required me actually planning that into my calendar and doing it typically right after their appointment, when they are fresh in my mind, their remaining issues are fresh in my mind, their goals are fresh in my mind, and I feel like I'm still kind of with their energy. So I have to figure out my calendar based on that too. If I know that I have a client that I'm seeing at 10 a.m., I know that at 11 a.m., when I'm done that appointment, I'm probably going to spend 30 to 60 minutes planning out their next session. So I need to make sure my calendar is blocked during that time. There's so many little bits and pieces. And if you're a fellow entrepreneur listening to this, you get it. So I want to share this with you and walk you through it and give it to you also, so that you can make it a resource that helps you as well. So bear with me here. I'm going to share my screen. So if you're listening to this podcast audio version, please know that there's a video version where I'm going to walk you through the planner sheets, but I'm also going to try to make it so that you can simply listen, and you can even print out the sheets, have them in front of you, or print them out at another time. This is still going to have relatable information, even if you're just listening to the audio version. But here on the video version, we're looking at the planner sheets. And this is the same thing that you're going to get when you get a copy, or very similar. I might make some tweaks after I do this episode if anything comes up. But there's three components to my planning method. There's a weekly sheet, and I'll give you a hint here. I normally do the week that's coming up, and then I normally print one of these and just put future non-urgent up here. And then it's not necessarily stuff that I need to worry about that week, but it's stuff that's important to me that I don't want to slip off of my radar. So I normally print 2 of these every week when I'm doing my planning, one for non-urgent future things, one for the upcoming week. I'll get back to what this is about more in a minute, but this is the first component of it. The second component is daily planner sheets. See, these are for every day of the week and weekends. And I'll also get into variation sheets. And then I have my DARE sheets. DARE stands for Dream Achievement Reverse Engineering. These are sheets that I use to break down big tasks. So, for example, and there's 2 parts to this sheet. Depending on how big your task is, you might only need one, or you might need the second one. So let's say that you have a big goal or project that you're going to be working on. And for me, I used to put this kind of stuff, like, let's just say start my podcast. And man, that one sat on my to-do list for a really long time, and I wasn't using this method. I think I might have gotten started sooner if I was, because I didn't know where to start. So for ages, I would see on my to-do list, create my podcast. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So with these sheets, when you have a big task, you write down the goal first. So my goal would have been to begin recording and releasing episodes of a new podcast. And then I would need to figure out the first thing to do to get the ball rolling. There's no right or wrong answer here. Sometimes it's very obvious what the first thing to do is. Sometimes it's just start somewhere and choose something. So maybe I would have chosen, research a good microphone to start. Can it be delegated? And I have that question there because I want to know, can I delegate this to one of my virtual assistants or my team? Or depending on the project, maybe this is a home project. Maybe you can delegate it to your husband or one of your kids or something else. There's a lot of ways to think about delegation. And these planner sheets are not just business related. These can be used for a lot of different things. In fact, I know some people that I've talked to and shared this with already use this just to simply put their schedule out there so that their family can relate to what the schedule is going to look like for the week, not necessarily for their own planning, but to share with maybe younger members of the family that they can't share with digitally, or that they're trying to help impart good planning skills to. Even some people have given these to their kids to use. So the sky is the limit with how you want to apply these. And since they're customizable, that really makes it even more expansive. But yes, you want to know if it can be delegated, check the box, and then how long. So how long do I think it would take for me to research the right microphone, perhaps even buy it, that kind of thing. I think I probably spent about 45 minutes when I was starting my podcast doing that. I might not have known that. So maybe I put 30 minutes in there, or you just estimate. It's just an estimated time. But this also helps you know, as you go down the list, what's realistic to do on any given day. And this part helps you to know the order they need to be completed in. So I might have on here release episode 1, but before I can release episode 1, I have to record and edit and do all sorts of other things with episode 1. So I couldn't do that first. It would have to be in a different order. So if there's an obvious order, then you can use this column to order the steps. Sometimes you'll have projects where it doesn't matter. It's just, you got to get the pieces done. Or there'll be, it'll break down into, you'll see other projects emerge from it, where it's like, this is one part of the project and it has these ordered steps. This is another part of the project and it has these ordered steps, in which case you could either fill out multiples of these, or you can just kind of see the logic as you break it down. But this really makes accomplishing bigger things much easier. I have filled these out multiple times as I have begun the process of writing my book. I fill these out when I am creating new program material for my clients, or when I'm doing a website overhaul, or anything that feels big, where it's like, I know I really want to do that, and it's sitting on my list because my brain doesn't know where to begin acting. So sometimes I'll sit down and spend 15 to 30 minutes just filling out one of these and figuring out steps. But doing that helps me know it's actually going to happen. I'm going to start the process of whatever this big dream is of mine that I want to get done. So these are the DARE sheets: dream, achievement, reverse engineering. Dare to get it done, guys. It's so easy. It's so simple. And then once you have things on these sheets, you can translate them onto your weekly list, your future non-urgent list, your daily list, wherever it's appropriate for the next step to go. Okay. So let's go back. And sometimes I don't use those I don't use those every week. I only use those when I need to. So if you're not tackling something that feels really big, like it needs to be broken down, you might not need to print those on a certain week. Now, this is the ones that I fill out every week. And usually when I'm filling out my planner stuff for the week, I have the week of list in front of me, and I also have the daily list, because sometimes as I'm filling out the daily list, I'm realizing things that need to go on the weekly list. So I kind of spread it in front of me, and I might have a dream achievement reverse engineering sheet there also. And I'll have like all the daily ones in a pile that I can kind of take one, put it to the back, take the next one, put it to the back as I go through the week. So normally on Wednesday, I make sure that I have my planner sheets for the following week printed, and I try to fill them out between Wednesday and Friday, depending on when my schedule allows. This is also really important because normally on weekends are when my husband and I like to take time and talk about the coming week. So that means that when I'm going to our little powwows that we have over coffee or sitting together somewhere, I'm ready. I know what the week has in store. I'm not going, oh gosh, this week that's coming up, I have no idea. It's just going to hit me like a freight train. And what do we need to do? Who needs to be where? what are our roles this week? Where do I need your help? Where do you need my support? What can we do for each other? I'm prepared because I've filled this out and I know what my intentions and goals are for the week. Okay. So this is my sheet. Your sheet is going to look different and you're going to make a copy and you're going to edit it. So you obviously don't have the Becoming More Me business. That's my business. So you would change that area of the tasks. Also, whether these apply to you or not, you can take them or leave them, add on what matters to you. I have the area for my business task, which is probably the largest area on here for me. I have an area on here for follow-ups when I need to follow up with clients or podcast hosts or people I'm collaborating with, or even just personal follow-ups that need to be done. I have an area on here with my husband's name, Jeff, things that I need to talk to him about or do with him or do for him, go there. I have a kids and family section, same kind of thing. If I need to do it for the kids or tell the kids that they need to do it or be somewhere, it's there. And I have a section for tasks to delegate. I have a section for education. If I have programs I'm working through or courses that I've purchased or things where I'm learning, they go there. I have other business tasks for my second business that I run at the bottom. And I have miscellaneous calls and errands in a section to themselves. And I also have home projects and chores in a section. Now, you might look at this and think, oh, there's definitely not enough room for kids and family, or how can you fit all of your other business tasks in 4 boxes or whatever. This is where I've tuned it over the time. So it's not so much that I only need, 6 boxes for my husband because I, don't care about him and I'm not doing anything or whatever. It's I only need 6 boxes because I talk to my husband every day. And usually there's not things that need to get listed for later. So typically the things that go there are the things that I know we're going to need to take time and sit down and talk about them versus the stuff that I text him real quick about or pick up the phone and talk to him, or he's, right here and I just tell him. So I don't need very much space for that. And I find the same thing with the kids and family section also. And I have a whole system for delegating tasks to my VAs. So I don't normally need to add a whole lot to my list. I delegate a ton to my virtual assistants, but I don't necessarily need room to write it down pen and paper on my weekly list. So this kind of stuff becomes apparent in the way that you want to write things down and the way that you manage things. I tend to have the most things that I want to write down and really kind of get my brain thinking on in my business tasks. And then things like miscellaneous are, make dentist appointments for the family or pick up the dry cleaning or that kind of stuff that just goes in there. And my other business is so incredibly well run by one of my VAs that I have very little I normally need to put there. So my columns reflect what's normal for me to need space for. And that's where you need to take a few weeks of doing this and figure out your categories and what you tend to need more or less room for. So give yourself the time to do that. And if you want to take my tip and print out 2 of these and do one for more, like non-urgent things, sometimes that does help to relieve the anxiety, because sometimes you'll start piling things in here and realize there's no way I'm getting to that next week. And I don't need to get to it next week. Let me put it in this future list, or to even keep a digital future list somewhere so that you feel like, I know this is important. I don't want to forget it, but it's a not now item. Then we get into the daily planner days. Okay. This is technically my to-do list, my daily to-do list. And I, again, fill these out the week before they're going to happen. So by Friday, at least of the week before, I'm filling these out with a new week beginning on Monday. And it just says Monday schedule. You can change that if you want to say something else. Oops. I actually like having it say Monday and also have the Monday circled and just kind of see like where Monday is in a week. It's just, I'm visual. I like to see that. I'll write the date up there. And then I have certain things on mine that happen every Monday without fail. Okay. So I know that I'm going to be waking up around 4:30. I'm going to be working out around 5. If it's a school day, this is when my first 2 kids get up. This is when my next one gets up. This is when the first bus comes. This is when somebody leaves and somebody else gets up. This is when the next bus comes. That's every weekday morning that goes as expected. If there's not a 2 hour delay or a cancellation or whatever, that's normal. So instead of writing that in every time, along with the times that my kids get home, I just have it already on my calendar. But it helps me know where my work can start and where my work needs to stop, where the time is needed to take care of them, and to visually see it all. So if you have things that happen every day, you're just going to delete out my stuff and put in yours. And I created these also because I couldn't find planners anywhere that started as early as I do. I like to be able to write things to do on my calendar beginning at 4:30 a.m. because that's when I'm up. And I'm pretty much not normally planning to do anything after 10, and usually way earlier. But I have the hours that things could be happening or scheduled on there. And that means a lot to me because most planners don't start until like 7 or 8. And my day is already off to the races by then. So let me explain the rest of this page. Down at the bottom, it's also customizable. These are essentially just boxes. And in these boxes are the things that I like to do. So I have workout there because I do that every day. My supplements that I take every day. I'm going to make sure I take them, check the box. I love checking boxes too. I mean, you probably do also. So some of these things, I try not to put things on there that I'm definitely not going to forget, but some things I do just like checking the box. Getting the mail. Different people in our family go to the mailbox and get the mail. I like to know that it's been received and picked up every day. And that's on there. Set alarms. This has really been helpful for me. And I think this is also a big ADHD helper. So on my phone, I can set alarms. I normally can't set them until it's at least 24 hours until that time again. So at the end of the day, I set alarms for the next day. I have my alarm to wake up in the morning, which I rarely need because I wake up before it. I have my alarm to wake my kids up. I have an alarm to wake up my next kid. I have an alarm, and they sometimes wake up by themselves. I just want to make sure I don't miss it because I can get, you lose track of time. So I have alarms to go off for all of that. I have an alarm that goes off a few minutes before the first bus comes so that we can get jackets on or gloves if we need to, gather last minute things and head out to the bus stop. I have an alarm to do that with my middle schooler too. And then I set alarms for client appointments. I set alarms for going outside to meet the kids and get them off the bus at, 2:45. I have an alarm goes off because they get home around 2:50. I, get ready. I grab the dogs. I take out a ball. We play fetch. We do our thing. My alarm reminds me that it's time to do that. And if I'm making dinner that night and I need to stop doing things at a certain time to do that, I normally set an alarm for that. Anything that's scheduled through my day, if I have podcast interviews for both either my show or ones where I'm a guest, I've got alarms going off to remind me so that I don't miss them. And when I set those the night before, it's secondary reminder. I have my paper that has everything written on it. And then I also know my alarm is going to remind me. So it's just backup. And it makes me feel really calm and confident about the day that's coming. I make sure that I do personal EFT during the day. And that's really important to me because I work with clients and I work on their things so often. But as a coach and an EFT practitioner, I've got things I need to work on every day too. So I make sure that I get at least one round of personal EFT in a day. I also have on here to get into the vortex, which is an Abraham Hicks term, but that's my meditation. That's when I am really putting some time aside to feel myself in the place of my desires becoming reality and to really get into that state and magnetize myself to that. And that's important to do every day for me. And it makes a huge difference in things that show up in my life. So that is also on my list. Got my doggos on there, make sure I get out and play with them, that kind of stuff. I have, give love, gratitude, appreciation, and affection to my family and loved ones. Make sure every day that every one of my kids, that my husband, my family that I'm in contact with feels that love and gratitude from me. That's really important to me. I try to make sure to post on social media every day. I'm not always the best at it, but there's the box to remind me to keep my story running. Also a box to remind me and to nurture my community group, my free community on Facebook, which you are welcome to join. There's a link in the show notes. If you're not already a member, you should be in there. It's awesome. And then I have things for certain days of the week, like that third column where it says grocery order. That's only a Monday thing where I need to just confirm my online grocery order that comes before the weekend, make sure I have everything that I want in there before they close the order and ship it to me. And so some days, all of these things that are down here, I hate the way this is presenting. It's really confusing. All of these things that are in these first two columns are kind of like everyday things. And then there's some other things that come up on certain days. You can do the same thing. If you have everyday things, you can just adjust them on the days. And if you adjust what you have on like all of this column, then you can just literally copy that column from Monday and paste it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's really easy to adjust these if you just kind of copy things in blocks. So that's how I use that. And then I put anything that I'm planning on doing that day here, business and dream manifesting action items. Okay. And it's kind of like that dare sheet where I'm going to estimate the time it's going to take to do that task. And I might write in a time that I'm planning on doing it, or I might just write an order, like, and prioritize things. And then I'm going to cross those things off as they get done. At the bottom, I'm going to put things that I need to do, family, personal, and other items of the day. And that could be like I put in that miscellaneous tasks for the week. That might be calling the dentist that day and making appointments. It'd probably take me, 10 minutes. When will I do it? I'm going to have to do it during office hours. So maybe I write down a time or maybe I don't. Those kind of things go there. And I've left enough room that I can put a reasonable amount of things, but not too much. Up here is where I kind of make notes for the day. If somebody calls me and I'm writing down something real quick, if there's something that I really need to remember, sometimes I'll write it really big. We're getting ready for winter break coming up. Today's the kids' last day of school. It was Polar Express Day and they needed to wear their pajamas. So that is right in big, bold letters at the top of my day so that I don't forget. And my kindergartner needed to remember to take a can of whipped cream in for the hot chocolate that they're making. So all of that is up top. And also when I had my wake up alarms go off this morning, the one to wake up my little kids said, wear PJs. And then before they walked out for the bus, I had one that went off that said whipped cream. So I had that reinforcement reminder happening there. And if there's things that need to get done first or really prioritize, sometimes I will write them there. And that's kind of a cue to me not to look down at the other list or even start doing that stuff before I do those things that I've kind of put top, front, and present on my to-do list. So that's just kind of how I manage it, but you could use this white space for anything, or you could, move this up and you could have more of a list space, whatever you like. That's what this is all about. So that's how Monday looks for me. Tuesday, I have print my planner down here so that I don't forget, so that Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, I can actually fill it out. Now, I don't print a ton of these at a time. I print them weekly because sometimes something comes up or I start, doing something or I need to add something that I want to add every day. If you're doing something that's going to take you 10 days to do, you might want to add a little checkbox down here to remind yourself to do it every day, or add it to your calendar so that you don't have to write it on there. And you can save yourself a lot of time by not trying to print a year of these and assume that it's going to be configured in the right way for you for the whole year. Just print a week at a time. Also, I'm in the process of, and I haven't tried this yet, so I don't know how I'm going to love it, but my hubby got me a Remarkable for the holidays, and I'm learning how to use it. I'm not in love yet, I must say, but I do understand that you can import things, and I'm curious how I'm going to like importing digital versions of this into my Remarkable and using them. So I'll let you know as I play with that what I think of that, or if I still prefer the paper, but we'll see. It would be nice to not have to waste the paper and the ink doing this every week, but I do really value the writing. But the Remarkable is supposed to have that feeling of writing and all that. So I'll still write on them. I wouldn't type things in there. I would still be, writing on the sheets. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated on that possibility. And so I print them on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I have my weekly planning on there so that I don't forget to do it. I also check my kids' school stuff with Parent Connect. I always check their grades and their progress in school on Wednesdays. So that's on there. And let's see. I need to, pay my VAs on Thursdays. That's on there. But mostly this is just kind of the same every day, except for things that aren't. Saturdays, there's obviously nothing for sending my kids to or from school. So it's more of a blank slate to fill in. And the same with Sunday. Now, I've also put in a second Monday in here that you'll see. And this is literally just an example. When my kids have break or they have days when they don't have school, I like to print one that doesn't have all that stuff already written in there. You could white it out. Like I use like the correction tape sometimes to white things out. But I also, in mine that I use in print, I have a whole Monday through Friday that's not school. It's no school. And you might have certain days where things go differently for you for whatever reason. And you might wish to print an alternate version for your weekdays or your weekends, depending on things that sometimes happen, sometimes don't happen. And, or if my kids have like early dismissal or something, I either take arrows and I put the times up 2 hours, or I print out a no school version and just put in the correct times. So all of those things are things that you can consider as you use those. But I hope that you'll give these a try and make them your own and give me some feedback on what's working for you or what you find better, because I always am finding ways to improve this for myself. And I can't imagine how many ways we can all find together using these. So I hope this is of value to you and something that you find helpful. I think if nothing else, understanding a little bit more about the ADHD brain and how you can better plan for success can be just a game changer. It can be such a huge deal. And when you experiment with different ways of planning and how that actually works or doesn't work for you, you get to learn so much more about yourself. So I encourage you to do that and to just question if your current method is working really well for you, or if you think that maybe you could have a more productive or fulfilling or purposeful year, and perhaps even less anxiety about all the things that you need to do if you were to lay things out a little differently. And that doesn't mean that what I'm using or doing is right for you. You might look at these planner sheets and be like, oh, that just, no way. That just doesn't jive with me. And that's okay. But hopefully it inspires you to look for what does, or to understand, that doesn't work for me, but this would. And then maybe you can just tweak the sheet and give it a go with what you think might be better. And realize that everything about those can be changed, from the layout to the colors to everything. So, if you're at all adept in Canva, it's very easy to copy, paste, remove, change, update, whatever. But having a little bit of an outline to start with can make it so much easier to create what you really need. So I look forward to you guys tag me if you zhuzh it up and change it, or come up with a better way to use it, or if you love using it the way that it is. Yeah, I look forward to hearing your feedback on that. And I hope that that helps you to plan an amazing 2023 and accomplish all the things you're dreaming about. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for listening. If you loved this episode, please share it with a friend or post on social media and tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave action steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. Keep shining your light.